Close Encounters of the Third Kind, one of the most iconic movies about aliens and UFOs ever to be released. Released in 1977, the special edition with added footage was released in 1980. Today we're taking a look at the TV cut of Close Encounters, broadcast December 30th, 1984. We're going to take a look at the movie itself, and we're also going to look at all the commercials. And let me tell you, these commercials from December of 1984 are pretty awesome. It's actually a beautiful tape itself. Take a look at that. I really like the texture of the tape. I don't know if you can see the lighting. I'm trying to slowly move it so maybe you can see that, but let's pop it in, shall we? So the first thing we're looking at here is space shuttle footage that my dad took on a trip with his brother. You might be very familiar with this. You don't know exactly how a movie starts because you have a TV recording of it, and it starts like 5 or 10 minutes into the movie. For me, growing up, that was Ghostbusters 2 and Close Encounters. So this tape starts immediately after the whole thing with the bombers being found again. And it instead skips straight to the FAA scene, which is ironic because of the footage beforehand. And you know, watching this, it's actually, the recording quality is pretty decent. I'm pretty surprised and happy with it. But you know, this is one of the best UFO movies ever made. It still holds up, and I think it's better than E.T. But I do love this scene, all the radars in there. That's kind of like where my dad worked. I went in there once or twice, and that's what it looked like. And they're talking about reporting a UFO, essentially.
EWA 517, do you want to report a UFO?
And the pilots decide not to because they're just scared of their reputation being ruined, essentially. And that's very interesting, fascinating as a story concept. You're adding elements to even just characters that you're not going to see again, but it's believable. I really, like, what am I going to do? Sit here and talk about how awesome Steven Spielberg is for 30 minutes? Maybe.
Negative. Report.
You get the scene where the toys come alive, which is just so iconic. I mean, Stranger Things recently, and I think in season 3, kind of hinted at that, you know, made a reference to it. And Richard Dreyfuss, man, Richard Dreyfuss is somebody that I didn't pay too much attention to as a kid. As an adult, I definitely started paying more attention to him. I like this guy a lot. Not just Jaws, but honestly, What About Bob? If you haven't seen What About Bob, change that right now. Richard Dreyfuss and Bill Murray, highly underrated movie. There's a certain age group of people that have seen it and love it, but everyone else needs to experience this. But he's funny in this. I like him. He's very likable.
Now, how far do you have to move this boxcar off the track so that the other train doesn't smash it? Quickly, Brad. There are thousands of lives at stake. Brad, any answer?
Until he starts going off the deep end. And for the most part, there's not a whole lot of extra stuff throughout this TV cut that I noticed. Now, I've been watching the theatrical version for years now, or at least the reassembled theatrical version with some one or two things put back in, but other stuff taken out still. I do think that the TV cut definitely adds from the special edition him getting the work assignment to go work at Crystal Lake.
Municipal lighting is asking to be cut free.
Neary, you know where that is? Oh, yeah, grab a splicing crew and a high wire act. And Neary, don't get creative out there, just productive. Remember, he's counting on you, and I'm depending on you. And you tell municipal lighting we're going to candle power in 10 minutes.
Like, I didn't remember that, and maybe you can tell me in the comments down below, oh no, I remember that, that's in the theatrical version. I think it's in the special edition from 1980, but this combines footage from both of those. It's actually the longest version. And while I'm talking about this, let's actually talk about that real quick. So the theatrical version is 135 minutes. The director's cut is either 137 or 138, depending on what source you look at. The special edition is either 133 or 132, again, depending on what you look at. However, the TV cut, without commercials, is 143 minutes, because it incorporates all of the footage. This is fascinating, and I was stoked when I realized this, that I had this tape, that it was recorded in my family in the 80s. With local commercials, by the way, which we will get to. You get all the stuff in the truck, man, like the lights coming down, him getting half sunburned, and then essentially losing his mind for the rest of the movie. And then we come to our first commercial break. I'm going to briefly talk about some of these commercials and show you some of them. The McDonald's commercial, hilarious. Doesn't really make me want McDonald's for sure. It's aimed at like younger kids. Some 80s commercials are just wacky and you wonder what the hell they were doing. Some of them were absolutely awesome. This McDonald's commercial isn't really one of them for me. You get a NyQuil ad, which is really just a sign of the times, nothing too crazy there. There's some bumpers from the local channel affiliate talking about New Year's Eve this Monday, which there's a Webster promo, and the real thing that seals what date that this tape aired, where the recording came from, what exact day, how I figured it out. The ad for Street Hawk.
There.
wait is over. The year of the Street Hawk begins at 8:30, 7:30 Central this Friday.
Now it's an ad talking about the actual world premiere of Street Hawk this Friday. Now if we look at just the Wikipedia for Street Hawk, it premiered on the 3rd of January, 1985. We pull up a 1984 calendar, we can assume that this is the Sunday before that. Combine that with the New Year's Eve promo, we're for sure on December 30th, 1984. And we're back from commercial, and Richard Dreyfuss is having a nervous breakdown. Now this is definitely one of my favorite scenes when he is basically taking his wife and kids out there. He's like, you gotta see this. They take him out there, and she's like, don't you think I'm handling this pretty well? And they share that kiss, and while they're kissing, he looks up. He looks up at the stars, and he wonders, you know? Like, that's just great visual storytelling, you know? Spielberg, another pat on the back, buddy. And then you slowly get the obsession with the shape, with stuff like the shaving cream and mashed potatoes eventually. And quickly enough, we're treated to a second commercial break. There's an ad from Channel 9, Kansas City, for the business report later that night. And some of these local commercials are the reasons I love these tapes, because I did grow up, in fact, in Kansas City. That's where this tape is from there. Then they get started with a propaganda from the National Dairy Association with a milk ad.
Wow! Milk's got more of what you need to get you on your way. Milk helps keep you going, charging on through your day.
That extra glass of milk every day gives you more of what you need to take on those everyday little surprises.
This is not the first time we'll hear from the National Dairy Association tonight. There's a Renault Jeep dealer ad, and then an ad for Tylenol Extra Strength caplets. And caplets were a new thing at the time. There's an ad for the Thornbirds that pops up more than once. It's a local ad for an airing that's coming up. There's an ABC Kansas City still image bumper, and we get back to the movie. I really like this India scene of the recording of the sounds and the chant, you know what I mean? There's so many interesting things in this movie, and this is one of those movies I saw in my mid-20s, and that's when I started falling in love with it. I started watching things like this. I was into audio engineering, and music, synthesizers, so this was fascinating on multiple levels for me. I've never really noticed how before the French guy is saying, we think this is important, we think this means something. The crowd's all gathered for another alien sighting, and what do you know, it's just a helicopter. And then, our third commercial break.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind, starring Richard Dreyfuss, will continue in a moment.
There's stuff like the nice throat lozenges, the Calgon soap, a Miller Lite football ad, a sports update ad for Pittsburgh and Denver, a Dodge commercial, a Wheel of Fortune ad that's once again a local ad, a quick little flash of used child car seats.
And now we continue with Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
And we're back to the movie. We're talking about pulses now. We're talking about pulses and the language and what's being said, and they eventually decipher that it's latitude or longitude, whatever he says. I don't even remember which it is. And back at this lady's farmhouse, the sky starts like looking insane and opening up.
Somebody get me the Ghostbusters.
And once again, this abduction scene is full of iconic shots. Visually, just like the composition of the shots themselves, but the weird lighting, it's pretty horrifying still. I mean, it's not like horror style scary, but it's scary still, you know what I mean? And I'm sorry, but she let him get kidnapped. She's not a good mother. Commercial break 4. There's a Maxwell House coffee ad. Man, all these 80s ads, like they used to love to put jingles in there. Songs galore, and a lot of them sound pretty similar. That's the part that's less fortunate. A Fruit and Fiber cereal commercial featuring the apple cinnamon flavor. There's a Levi Ads commercial, a really cool ad for the Chevy Celebrity, and maybe the coolest ad on the entire VHS. An ad for Wolfen.
Thursday at 8, 7 Central.
Is it an animal?
If you have a taste for terror,
Something out there might be eating people.
be sure to catch Wolfen. Parental discretion advised. Thursday.
For a TV airing Thursday at 7. Hell, I've never seen Wolfen, but now I'm interested. And we get back to the movie, and we're talking about the press conference where she's talking about her missing son. Then they actually get to talk with some government officials and stuff. And I love that. There's a guy there. They're talking about all the evidence. There's a guy there, and he's like, I saw Bigfoot once.
I saw Bigfoot once. 1951. Back in Sequoia National Park. Had a foot on her. 37 inches.
I don't know if you noticed this, but that's the old man from Home Alone who was supposedly the murderer who hid the bodies in the trash cans. And here's where we get the infamous mashed potatoes scene and the mental breakdown he has at dinner here. It's actually sad, and you can tell the family is deteriorating here at this point. It's actually really rough to watch. His wife eventually loses all sympathy she has for him and is like, "You suck, bro." And then, commercial break 5. Sears Tire and Auto. Man, I miss Sears, don't you? Oh well. Then there's an ad for V8 drinks, and it's on an airplane. It's a mildly interesting ad, I guess. Apparently Starman was in theaters in December of 1984 because there's an ad for that. There's a Sugar Bowl bumper, and then there is a Sprite 7-Up Santa Claus ad, and it's basically Sprite saying, "Fuck you" to 7-Up.
You know Sprite won the taste test.
It's only Sprite for you.
There's a Trade in Your Hoover Vacuum sale. And this is a commercial from the Jones Store Company. And I'm sorry, I just love these ABC bumpers. We now return to Close Encounters. So he wakes up from having a terrible night before. His kid's watching Marvin the Martian. He decides, you know what? This is it. I'm over it. I'm over the UFO stuff. I'm fine. We'll be all right. Until he's destroying everything, and he changes the shape and gives it that flat top. The same top as Devil's Tower. And then he proceeds to lose his mind again. He wakes up his family because he's throwing bricks, grass, dirt, plants, all this stuff inside. He's stealing his neighbor's chicken wire, letting out her ducks. He even gets on the car when she's trying to drive away. It's insane. And we come to the 6th commercial break. There's a Tylenol sinus medication ad, and this one's really funny because this lady keeps describing her headache pain as a skull cap.
Like someone is taking a skull cap and just squeezing my head.
The National Dairy Board makes another appearance with a cheese commercial. We get another look at the same Jeep Renault commercial from before. Publishers Clearinghouse is totally like, yeah, we're not fake. You should totally trust us.
Those contests aren't for real.
That's what we used to think.
That this check is real.
ABC Tonight ad for 1984 Memories. And we're back to the movie. So he's driving to Devil's Tower now. You know, there's an alleged gas leak or something like that. They're stopped by the government. They ended up being interviewed. And very quickly, we are treated to commercial break number 7. It is the Wendy's chicken sandwich commercial. Now, to be honest, this is not a good way to market food, I feel like, because I'm just associating the bad sandwich with Wendy's now. There's an old man drinking LA beer from Anheuser-Busch, an ABC news brief with Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam conflict, and an abortion bombings arrest. That goddamn Dairy Association is back with a butter ad. Get out of my face, Dairy Association. There's a Southwestern Bell ad, and we're back to the movie. So we see the whole little outside installation for Devil's Tower, where they're expecting these aliens. The French guy trying to convince the military guy that basically, you know, these people came here for a reason. We need to see what's up with that. Him deciding, no, we're going to evacuate them all anyway. They're on this helicopter. And Richard Dreyfuss is like, you know what? Taking my gas mask off. It's fine. We need to get out of here. I am not getting out of here. I want to stay. I want to see these aliens, man. They start mentioning the sleep dust, which does eventually get used on the one guy that decides to go with them. And then they finally get to see the full setup on the other side of the Devil's Tower. And then we go to commercial break number 8. There's a Crest commercial, and again with the songs.
Kids, cause her dentist had good things to say. Aren't your kids? So you show her in your special way.
There's an Ivory soap commercial, which is just very weird and off-putting. A 7-Up Christmas ad. I mean, just Christmas soda commercials. I'm here for that. Another Campbell's soap ad, and a second bumper for Street Hawk.
They told me she was so secret. Just laying eyes on her put a price on my head. They said no one would know my identity. Not even the cops. And they warned me. It wouldn't be like any police work I'd ever done.
Rex Smith is with you. The year of the Street Hawk begins this Friday at 8:30, 7:30 Central and Mountain.
And we're back to the movie, and the climax is finally beginning. Some of the ships and lights start to come down. They start communicating a little bit. They leave, another ship comes down, it leaves. Then the clouds start forming again. The big, bright, and colorful ship comes, and Richard Dreyfuss decides, I need to kiss this woman. I don't understand why they share this kiss. I can understand them having something in common about all this and whatnot, but like, bro, your wife left you like 2 days ago, and like, what the hell are you doing? And don't get too comfortable, because now it's commercial break number 9. There's a LeBaron Chrysler GTS ad, which I gotta admit makes me want one. An ad for Weight Watchers Pepperoni Pizza. An ad for some new episodes of shows that are airing that week on Channel 9. A little bumper for KMDC News Brief that's coming up. And talk about a snowman thief.
And a snowman thief in Lenexa gives back the goods he stole. Now this.
We're back to the movie, and the big ship approaches. It kind of comes down. Everyone's in awe. They start communicating with music back and forth. They do this for a little while. And then the doors open. And I think this is the quickest one yet, but already we will go back to a commercial with commercial break number 10.
No little cinnamon gum freshens breath longer than Big Red.
So kiss a little longer, hold tight a little longer, be close a little longer with Big Red. That Big Red freshness maps right through it. Your fresh breath goes on and on, while you chew it, say goodbye a little longer, make it last a little longer. Give your breath long-lasting freshness with Big Red.
And again, one of the best commercials on this tape, this Big Red ad. It's all these ads with the songs and stuff that either really work like this, or they just are terrible, like some of the other ones in here. Like that McDonald's one, come on, get out of here. There's an ad for the Marines, which when I was watching, I thought it was just an ad for swords, and was like, this is sick. Maybe it's a kitchen knife ad. Nope, it's the Marines. There's a Raisin Bran song. Again, songs out the ass. There's a Miller Lite ad with bodybuilder Lori Brown and Rodney Dangerfield that is just, again, what the hell are they doing in the 80s, man?
But having a great body has its advantages. Sure makes it easy to pick up guys. Hi, Rodney.
Well, hi there. What's going on here? Hey, honey, how about a lift home, huh?
Like beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer. And less.
And we're back, and there's only one commercial break left to go. So the people start coming out of the spaceship, all the people that have been returned by the aliens. All the people that went missing throughout the years that they captured, including her kid who was recently kidnapped. It opens again, and you see one really weird creature, and then a bunch of, like, children creatures, and I don't know where that one went. Like, those, it's very conflicting, you know what I mean? And it becomes clear that this French guy is trying to send Richard Dreyfuss off with these aliens. There's a bunch of people that are volunteering for it, and they end up choosing him. He gets on the spaceship, and here is where the big difference is for the TV cut and or special editions, is that once he gets on the ship, you see the inside of it this time. And I gotta say, Roland Emmerich must have been a huge fan of this movie. Now, if you've seen Independence Day, it's kind of like, what if Close Encounters happened, but it was, everybody was getting attacked, and it was action, and explosions, and shit, and Will Smith is cool. But like, even just the design elements, the inside of this spaceship is very Independence Day vibes. And the last commercial break, we have another Jeep commercial. A no-nonsense pantyhose commercial.
It's here. New no nonsense. The first pantyhose with 16-point contouring fits you even better than before. Shapes itself perfectly from your ankle all the way to your waist.
A pretty boring AT&T commercial and a Pediacare ad. Before we return back to the movie, the ship takes off and the credits start. The movie is over, and the local news just starts talking over the credits. I love it.
This is Joan London. Tomorrow on Good Morning America, Geraldine Ferraro reflects on the 1984 campaign and tells about her political future. Dick Clark talks about 84's movie stars and Michael Jackson on Good Morning America.
And then it just sort of switches to the Channel 9 news. Now, the TV cut of Close Encounters has not actually been released on a actual physical media, so this is a recorded version off of TV. I'm sure somebody has also found a version like this and put it on Internet Archives or somewhere on the internet for you. If not, maybe I'll do that in the future. But I found this to be a very interesting tape to watch with the commercials still intact from the airing, just the sign of the times. It was a December airing, it's November, we're kind of hyping up for Christmas here. You know, it's the longest version of Close Encounters available, so this is just a very interesting and fun time. And if you like this video, be sure to check out this one and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.